Good morning. Hi, everybody. My name is Emily Elias. I'm the acting director of the USDA Southwest Climate Hub. We cover 6 states in the Southwest.
Thank you, Emily, and thank all of you for being here. I am tremendously excited to see so many people who want to learn about how to extend your reach into larger audiences.
I'm in the desktop. There's 3 folders. Oh, here it is. I got it.
There we go.
So we're here with Noah Malich at the Western Snow Conference in Albuquerque this week. Can you tell us what the purpose of the conference is?
So this is a conference that is an exchange of information between researchers and practitioners in the area of snow, in particular with regard to water supply.
I want to thank Emily Elias and the executive committee for inviting me to give some remarks to open this conference. I think that the principal qualifications for, as far as I can tell, for somebody to give a keynote address is that they be local and old. And so Emily found me.
There's actually generally more variability in SWE than precip. So the process is accumulating.
Glad I have a chance to present some interesting results, I believe, from the Sierra.
Snow drought. Sounds like an oxymoron. And the other part of that question, how does it affect forecasting?
Yeah, I mean, so if you have snow on the ground, you have water, right? So there is somewhat of a kind of confliction there, but you don't have as much water as you normally do. So the whole idea with defining drought is it's above or below normal. Mm-hmm. And so what we're saying is the snowpack is below normal.
When you tell people your vocation, what question do you get most often?
How did you get interested in this? I mean, I think that's a common one.
And then the second part of that is, what question do you wish people would ask you when you tell them your vocation?
Well, I think I'd like them to engage me about how we use snow to make water resources decisions. I think the layman doesn't understand how important snow is to not only decision making, but our actual physical infrastructure. So,
could you say and spell your name?
You betcha I can. My name's Randy Julander. It's spelled R-A-N-D-Y-J-U-L-A-N-D-E-R.
And your title?
Grand High Exalted Mystic Ruler.
What effect do cosmic rays have on the snowpack?
So the cosmic rays are actually entering passively through the atmosphere. What happens when cosmic rays, specifically the gamma rays, hit the snow or any water form, the signal attenuates. So we're able to measure the attenuation and know the quantity of water within the snowpack. Most people ask about the research of snow is, why are we trying to measure snow? And especially the people who don't live in the snow and understand that snow is our water resource.
What question would you wish they would ask you?
I wish people would ask, I guess, how they could get involved.
I can, at the very least.
In that 30 years, is there an event that just sticks out in your mind?
There's multiple events, and you just can't think of them all. But it was a really great run. It was a very enjoyable work, and the snow conference has just been sort of an extension of that, keeping your finger on the pulse and still being with your peers that you had worked with for the 30 years previous.
When you told people what you did, what would they ask you most often?
I used to do a lot of media surveys when I would take the media up to do the snow surveys, and they always wanted to know what this means when you do this. As soon as you poked your first hole in the snow, what's that mean? And so you had compare it to average, and then you had to be pretty careful. It doesn't mean a whole bunch yet because so much of the year can still come and change, but we're headed on this trend or we're headed on that trend. So it was,
Make it a good one.
Does cloud seeding affect?
Absolutely. All of the research has been done in the state of Utah starting in the very early 1970s. And the effect is variable year to year, but when you overall average it out, there's typically somewhere around 10-15% increase in snow water equivalent on the ground due to cloud seeding.
So when you tell people before you retired what you did, what's
It was awesome. I had the most awesome job in the whole honking world because I get to measure snow. And they say, measure snow? And I say, absolutely. And then the second question they have is always, well, what do you do in the summertime? Summertime is super busy for us because we have to do all of the operation and maintenance on all of the remote sites.
So what I specifically am looking at is seeing how stream flow and the runoff that we see downstream, how that changes in terms of quantity between a scenario like now, today, and in a warmer world. So from the critical zone observatory that I'm working with, what the data looks like and how I have formed and reshaped it to use for my research question. So I think the question of why do I care, or why should I care, or how is that going to affect me are questions that I would love to answer.
With the snow information relative to virus activity, but when it came to stream flow, there was a lot. That's what I'm kind of thinking. But again, this is all.
Those indirect impacts are really hard to quantify because what we know about economics is that money.
We've been looking at studying snow depth distributions. So if snow lasts longer in certain regions, then you have different biogeochemical processes going on, and this also interacts differently with the atmosphere. So if you have snow on the ground, you have more reflectance, you have different fluxes between land and atmosphere.
Can you tell people what you're doing in school?
Mm-hmm.
What's the most frequent question they ask you?
Most frequent question, well, they'd probably ask why I'm still in school, because I've been in school so long. I really enjoy it. It's given me a lot of opportunities to travel and meet new people. And I find the research very interesting.
Of it from skiing and playing in it and trying not to get myself and others killed, to now thinking about snow as what comes out of my taps eventually.
How does 3D imaging help measure sweep?
Yeah, so we can use a couple of different instruments, like LiDAR, or using photogrammetry with cameras to measure surface elevations. And snow depth, when you times it by snow density, you get the amount of water that's in the snowpack. The most frequent question that I'm asked is how is this mountain snowpack changing? And I look at the mountain snowpack mostly with remote sensing, and we know from the remote sensing record that snow extent is declining.
What is the one question that you wish they would ask?
I think the one question I wish they would ask is, why is the mountain snowpack changing, and what's driving those changes? And we know that in the springtime, when snow is melting earlier, most people assume that that's increasing temperatures, but it's actually the sun that melts the snow, and the snowpack is getting darker.
Yeah, with the work that I've attempted to do this year, I guess it's meant to supplement some of the data that we collect with our manual snow surveys as well as our snow scales and our weather stations. But it potentially is moving towards being our primary source for water supply, for long-term water supply planning. The question I would get is more about, about the accuracy of this.
Mexico actually got what some people in the United States think is a great deal because they have plenty of water for economic activity, but it was done at a time when economic activity, moving water out of river channels for human beneficial use in cities and farms was kind of the only way we thought about it.
So this year, the El Frisante Award goes to my friend, Jeff Anderson.
something to say for yourself.
I did not go to Boise last year because I was afraid this might happen. Thought I had dodged the bullet, so apparently let that be a lesson to the rest of you. And I do have new tubes on order from Steve. Uh-oh. What do we got here? I call that a non-standard tie. And what do we do about that? That's okay. I'll back you up, buddy. I'll back you up. A Swiss Army knife. Yeah. The WSC tradition. Yeah. Gotta take the tie off, man. Gotta take the tie off. I'll bet your mother made that tie for you, didn't she? Damn, it looks like it. Woo! Stuff it in his pocket there now.
There are some really interesting science questions that people at this meeting are trained to address. Most of us are hydrologists and scientists. And so there's a lot of questions about how best we can describe the hydrologic cycle and make forecasts. Here in the Southwest, we have some real water stress issues. Water tends to be overallocated. We're pumping water out of the ground faster than it's being replaced, and there's a whole set of water policy questions that will increase in urgency as we have more years like this year. And so adapting the science that we've generated in a way that's useful for policymakers is also a really fascinating and interesting challenge for us.